You're really good at them. Well, we're a minute away, and I do want to start on time and walk through this. So I'll monitor for questions as we go, but I am going to leave some time for Q&A at the end, so we can go ahead and get started there. And I have a deck all ready for us, and yeah, grab that workbook, and we'll go ahead and get started here in just a moment. More and more people popping in. This is so great. Use that chat box. I love to be able to talk to people and see who's in here. If you're a name that I might recognize, if you're one of my students, or you've emailed with me before, I want to hear from you. There's a great example. Meredith is popping in. Emails marketing is a struggle for her, so she's really excited. Meredith, I need to get on your list. I'm not yet, but I need to, because I think a lot of you think that you're not as good at it as you may be. Alexa, hi, definitely know your name. That's good. That's a good emoji. Excited, but a little bit nervous. Okay, well, we are going to go ahead and hop in. I've got I didn't want to make this an hour because I know we're all busy, but I think it's going to be once we tie in the Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and share my slides with everybody so you can see those. And here we go. Okay, so I think you can see everything okay. I'm going to go ahead and hop in and make sure that is coming over just fine. Silver immersion in the house. So excited you're here, Erica. Okay, I can see my slides great, so I'm going to go ahead and start and dive into this content today. So this is, like any educational time, your pink permission slip to just get off the grid. I get no greater joy sometimes than throwing my phone in a drawer, so feel free to go ahead and do that. Close out any tabs that you may have that are being just all up in the way right now, and use that chat box. Now, you may want to grab that workbook I've talked about a few times, but I do want to say this. I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. I like to think that I'm a speaker who's not going to tell you that you have to close out everything, because I know that we always need to have some piece of tech on us. And if you want to use that hashtag copywriting for creatives, if there's a question that you maybe don't want to ask to the whole group, or just a question that you want to shoot me at later and have me answer that, please use that hashtag, or just tag anything that you have, and I will be able to say hi to you. Now, don't forget that workbook. It is linked below, and it's also going to be at this really long link. I feel like it's going to be easier to just click through below, right? Okay, so what are you going to learn today? I was that girl in class who always wanted to know what the teacher was going to go over and needed to know everything, and so that's how I'm going to be here in this class too. Today we're going to talk about what in the world a funnel is, right? Like I said earlier before a few of you hopped on, it is that sexy term in marketing and in emailing right now, but what is it, right? What does it look like? How do we actually implement one in our business? We're going to talk through that. I'm also going to help you write some email sequence ideas here. Again, when you grab that workbook, there's 3 ready-to-go sequence examples for you that you can implement in your own business. And I will remind you, a welcome sequence is a sequence as well. So I'm going to give you 3 steps to getting going with those. And then I feel like this is the elixir of this whole presentation today and what's going to make it worth it. The last thing I'm going to talk to you about is my go-to copy template. It's literally the formula that I use over and over again in my business. I've taught it to a few students, but I've never spoken taught it. I've always just written about it. So I'm going to go ahead and walk you and talk you through that today. So let me go ahead and see, some of you have jumped in, but if you want to hop in that chat box now and let me know where you are in your email marketing journey. What are your thoughts when it comes to email marketing? We were talking about your emoji feelings earlier. I know that there's a lot of mixed emotions when it comes to email marketing. Madison's popping in, good. There's more and more names here. So if it's something that scares you, I just want to totally pat you on the back here and say that you're pretty much like everybody in the industry. I write maps and email funnels and sequences for creatives with lists of way beyond 30,000. Some have had 100,000 before, and they get freaked out before they send an email, especially when I tell them we need to send 3 on cart close day. So you're definitely in good company here. Brianne's hopping in saying that email marketing freaks are out. I feel like you're doing it wrong. So does everybody. Yay, we're all in the right place. Okay, that's perfect. But I do want to have a little come to Jesus with yourself for a minute. What has stopped you from figuring this out before in your business? Is it a fear of writing? Is it a fear of tech? We're going to go into a few of those, but I really want you to get past this, because it's really important to me that we just take an assessment right before. I tend to be a bit of an education junkie, and it's important that we hone that back and think for a minute, what's stopping us and how can we push through that and actually make a change. So You may be wondering if you're in the right place today. Some of you may have huge email lists, and some of you may not have even started yours. But I want to say that my goal here is to teach every single one of you something new that you don't know before. So if you can relate to any one of these, then you're probably in the right place today. If it's copywriting, specifically writing, and you just need it broken down into a formula, I'm going to help you. Again, that very last thing that I'm going to talk to you about is a formula that I'm going to let you plug and play in your business today. Maybe you hate the idea, like I was talking about some of my clients with these massive email lists, launching products that have made them upwards of $1 million. They hate the idea of sending too many emails. So you're, like I've said so many times, not alone in that. Maybe you feel like you're constantly marketing your spots and peddling your products and just like you're always telling people to buy, and you feel like if you had some way to love and nurture them in the meantime, then you would feel a little less sleazy about making that sale when it is time, right? When it is time to have that Black Friday sale or that holiday sale. Now, maybe you already have a MailChimp or a ConvertKit account, but you know you're not using it to the nth degree that it is designed for. Especially, I see this a lot with ConvertKit. People just don't use it like they should. So I'm going to talk you through some of the things there that you could do a little bit better. Or maybe you dream of launching something one day, a course, a product, a big signature product, and there's no way that you can do that because you don't have the email infrastructure in place to uphold that. Well, if any of those are you, you're in the right place. I know that there's a lot of fears that come up again and again for those of you who really want to leverage this tool, this email marketing tool, but you just can't figure out the next step. So I pulled together about 3 fears that I feel like I see all the time when it comes to creatives and email marketing. The first is the tech, right? Many of us can attest to this. It just seems scary. You, like I said, purchase that MailChimp or ConvertKit account, but you've got no idea how to max it out. It's not pretty on the inside. You're not sure what goes where. You fear that if you hit just the wrong thing, it's going to blast out something to all these poor people who are then going to click unsubscribe and hop off of it. So this may be you. Here's another thing that comes up again and again. Maybe you do send out your email marketing blasts each week or each month, but you're still not able to say that you're booked out. Like you dream of being able to say, oh, we're 2018 spots are filling up now, or September's already sold out, or something like that, but there's no way you can because you're constantly trying to fill these spots. Or people are visiting your website and you see it with heat maps and you see it with your Google Analytics, but they're not clicking purchase. So maybe that is you. Now, here's another thing. And some of you think that you're just going to drive people bananas with all your emails. But I want to encourage you. So hear me say this. When someone raises their hand to hear from you, I truly believe that it is your job to give them your best stuff and to just serve them like crazy. And if you really want the truth, it is 100% statistically true that businesses that send out more emails see then a higher open and click-through rate. Okay, so I'm going to say that again so it makes sense. A business that sends out a higher volume of emails to their email list, in turn, will see a higher open rate and click-through rate. And you can think about this in the reverse to make it make sense to you. How many times have you signed up for an email list and you never hear from them? And then a few months later, you get this random email and you think, who is this? A, when did I sign up for this? B, I don't need this anymore. And you're just kind of turned off and you hit unsubscribe, right? I don't want that to happen to you, and that's why it is important to nurture your list and to love them well. So let's go ahead, use that chat box one more time, and I'm going to pop over. What holds you back? What is it? Is it still the tech thing? You don't know what tools to get started with, or is it something else like writing the copy? I'm going to pop in here and read some of these. Meredith said fear of writing, lack of time. You do love the tech side, Meredith. I have definitely watched your business enough to know that you click with tech. Hey, Angie. Oh, it's so good to see you. Angie says lack of time and the fear of ending up in everybody's trash can, which is a total fear as well. Ashton talks about a crazy mountain, no idea where to start or what to offer. We're going to get you settled with that today. And Jacqueline's piping in, talking about it's not necessarily scary, but it's more daunting. How do you grow and nurture your list? Oh, I love it. And I'll talk to you about that. You've got physical products. Okay, let's talk today about physical products and service. Celeste, what to talk about, annoying over salesy, what to write or give them value-wise. You're my people. Okay, I really want today to help you. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in, and I'm going to kick it off with this statement right here. This is from Todd Herman. I was in his 90-day-year coaching program, and who's a fantastic coach. And I loved this quote. So yes, the girl who writes funnels and sequences for a living is going to tell you the answer to everything in your business isn't a funnel. There is so much more beyond it, but it is a good tool, and I want you to use it wisely. So I think pretty much a lot of people here know me, but just in case, hi, my name is Ashlyn. I am a calligrapher and a copywriter for creative entrepreneurs. My background is in public relations and marketing. I studied journalism, mass communication, and went straight to work in the public relations industry, specifically working for a big agency in Midtown Atlanta that I absolutely loved, working on top-tier accounts like Delta Airlines and Chick-fil-A. Got to plan some pretty swanky million-miler events, and also did a ton of email copywriting for Delta Airlines. Would draft the emails that would go out to millions of SkyMiles members, as well as any changes to the SkyMiles program. And so had to get used to hitting send on that button that would go to thousands really early in my career, and figuring out what subject line and what email copy was going to make these people click through and convert. So I did this for a long time, but now I get to map and write funnels for these guys. So more of the creative entrepreneurial tribe, and I absolutely love it. Now, one other thing, if you can give me one more minute to explain, just in case you're hopping on here and aren't quite sure what copywriting is, you're in good company, because there is a sister out here who doesn't know either. I promise you, it happens all the time. I get asked, I think once a week at least, what is copywriting and what do you do? So copywriting is the art and the science of marketing words that elicit action. So this is anything that comes alongside the imagery and the design that you have in your business and helps support it. Now, I'm going to be honest here. Is it the thing that catches people's eyes right off the bat? Nope, not necessarily. But copy is going to be the closing picture in your business. It's the thing that actually gets the sale and coaches the conversion. And that's why it is so important that you are trained to be the best darn copywriter that you can be in your business. Now, I'm going to also say that some people think it's 50% art and like beautiful poetry and prose and pretty wordsmithery, and 50% science and formula. But I would argue that it's a little more slanted towards, can you guess, science. It is much more of an analytical approach with very formula-driven, formulaic structure than it is art. So we're going to get that in place, and then we're going to layer the art on top of that. But what is email marketing copy? I like email copy because people are 2 times as likely to sign up for an email list than interact with your Facebook page, according to a recent report from Forrester. I'm going to throw a few email stats at you because I want you to have a chance to write those down in your workbook, which you can grab. But I also wanted to let you know that I'm just one of those people. I want the why. I always asked why growing up, and so I know that you may be like that too. So I want to give you some hardcore evidence as to why you should study this. They're also 90% more likely to see an email from you than your last Instagram post. 90%, okay, that's huge. And 61% of people say that they enjoy getting promotional emails from brands, which is pretty cool when you think about it. Anytime you get those Lulu emails in your inbox or J.Crew emails, there's 61% of people that got that don't mind getting it, right? I know I always like getting an email about a sale or getting something with a tip in it, and so that is your tribe as well. Now, here's my favorite statistic though. My email marketing platform helped me make back money hand over fist what I started paying for it. I started out on MailChimp, moved to ConvertKit once I hit 100 subscribers, which seemed so huge back then. And ConvertKit just gave me a little more in the realm of capability than MailChimp did. So I was spending that $30. That's the first thing that it cost. I think it's $29 actually. After I think I had a free month, and then I went straight into that. But like I just told you, it absolutely made me that money hand over fist. And in fact, it has been what helped my business go from 0 to more than 6 figures. And email sequences are the key player in a recent launch that I did that doubled my sales goal, actually doubled it. So I only have around 6,000 Instagram followers, okay? So I'm the very first person to tell you that having a K next to your next to your Instagram account doesn't necessarily mean financial freedom, right? And I know that that's a lie that we hear a lot of times, but to me, there's this number that no one sees, the number on your email list, that is truly more of a driving factor behind the numbers and the metrics in your business. I also think you can start making money with a list even at 150 people, as long as those 150 people are super engaged and the right people for your list, okay? So I do want you to set a goal today, though, no matter where you are. If you haven't hit 1,000 people yet, let that be your first big benchmark. If we get you that first 1,000, then I think you're really ready to launch something big, like a course or a bigger offering. Okay, you know I like the science, right? You know I'm gonna hit you with some of the analysis. So this is the nitty-gritty science part behind why this is all important, right? Why copywriting matters. So the 5 stages of awareness, and there's a spot for you to fill this in your workbook. This is something that copywriter Eugene Schwartz tackled in his book, Breakthrough Advertising, back in 1966. Side note, that book is only about, there's like a few in print, and it's around $170 now, I believe, on Amazon. No, I won a copy the other day, and it came in the mail, and I'm so excited. And it is the nerdiest textbook thing I've ever seen, and I'm so excited. I just had to brag for a minute that I don't ever win anything, and so that was like a really big deal for me. Okay, anyway, good old Huge here. Eugene Schwartz wrote down these 5 things. And so when someone is moving through your client journey, right, and coming to get to know your calligraphy products or your print shop that you sell, or your freebie downloads is what they're downloading before they get to hire you on as an event planner or a wedding planner, whatever it is you do, they're moving through these 5 steps. So unaware is where this couple is completely, has no knowledge of anything except maybe the problem they have going on, which brings me to pain aware. Somebody who is pain aware knows that they need your help, but they don't quite know you exist yet. Somebody that is solution aware knows the result that they want, but doesn't know that you're the one, right? So this may be a bride who has realized that she absolutely needs help planning her wedding, but she doesn't know that you're out there yet. Or a bride who knows she needs a photographer, but she's never heard of you before. Then they come to product aware, which is when they're starting to kind of rank and shuffle you alongside people who peddle the same product that you do. Just a side note, this is why it's really good to do something that nobody else does, because it makes this part a little easier. But when they're product aware, they're weighing and making sure that you are the one for the job. Now, a most aware customer knows your product and knows you, and they're holding out their credit card ready to buy from you. So, see this little fast lightning line all the way through all these 5 steps? The thing about email marketing and sequences and funnels is it light speeds this whole process, right? It just can very quickly get someone through. You may have been on an email list before, and you get through a welcome sequence, and you're just that person's biggest raving fan at the end of it, right? Like, you love everything that they've sent you. They've been so incredibly helpful, and you moved from not even knowing that this was a huge problem in your life to seeing that not only is it a problem, but you can afford the solution, and my goodness, you want it now, right? So that's how quickly you can move someone through the 5 stages of awareness by using email marketing. Okay, but what is this funnel work I keep talking about? And I will say I'm going to use funnel and sequence interchangeably here. But let's talk about exactly what it is. So word of mouth for our businesses is a good thing, right? Like, we love when somebody refers us, when somebody comes to us in our business and says they want to work with us because they heard that you did great work for so-and-so. Like, nothing feels better, right? But the thing is, that is not predictable. And what if you are taking a week off or taking a month sabbatical? I'm taking a month sabbatical coming up. And I think I would be really nervous if I didn't have sequences set up in my business to help these clients continue to come through my door. Or what if you're just busy, right? You can't market your business 24/7 because, my goodness, at some point you have to do the work that's going to get you those dollars, right? Well, a set up series of emails that's all ready to go in your email marketing platform automates that process of getting people to know you and drive them through that client journey to whatever it is that you want them to sell. So maybe your sequence and your funnel is as simple as getting them through to your services page, where you want them to hit yes to signing up for a time to talk with you through your Calendly or your Acuity or whatever calendar scheduler you have in your business. That is a funnel. That is a sequence. And that's why I really urge that if you're writing a welcome sequence in your business, at the end of that, you drive them to something. Don't just tell them, like, great, glad you're here. You're going to hear from me during my monthly newsletter. Tell them about your services. Remind them what you do. Drive them to a page where they can hop on the phone with you. Or maybe you want them to have a look at your template shop that you have. Or you want them to buy that $29 ebook or a tripwire that you have set up in your business, or a $175 mini course that you have ready. Funnels work best when you already have something at the end of the line and you want to drive someone to it. So I'm going to pop into our chat box one more time, and I want to hear from you. Have you been on a funnel before? I'm guessing we have a lot of creative entrepreneurs here today, and many of us, it's like every time you get on a webinar, you also automatically get shuffled through a funnel, right? And it's like, card close, we're closing tonight, 24 hours. Like, this is a very common marketing practice in our realm these days, and that's not a bad thing. They definitely work. There's reasons that those are there. But anytime you've been on those, Kate says, you bet, yes. Tavia, hi, we've got some CFC students on here. Erica said, funnels for physical services, absolutely, and I want to talk to you a little bit more about that. Ashton says every day, yep, they're pretty much a staple, right? We see them all the time, once a week. Yes, they don't generally work, says Meredith, which is interesting. Meredith, you may want to sit for a minute with that and think about why they don't work, because there could be, I'm guaranteeing you there's somebody else out there like you that feels the same way about funnels. I know probably a lot of us, like, you see right through them. So maybe see what is the missing link and learn from that, because I think if you could do something that nobody else is when it comes to your own funnels, you would be doing really well. Okay, I'm gonna hop back over, keep going through these. So why do I think that funnels work? Well, to clear the air, because I don't want you to feel icky or gross about them. I have a heart for sequences or funnels in your business because I want you to giving your best stuff, give your best stuff again and again and again. There is a lot of value in our community over competition community, and I really think that paying others for their expertise is something that we need to get used to, and I've talked about that on Instagram and stuff. But I also think that there's a time and a place to give and give your best stuff away for free. That is a bedrock to marketing these days. Content marketing is, it's pretty much what marketing is now, but Seth Godin has some fun quotes when it kind of first came out as a new thing a few years ago in business. But now it is just how you market, right? You got to give stuff away for free. One of my clients, Jenna, always says that she likes to serve for about 6 months before asking for a sale. So I would just encourage you to think about that in your business. There's also the thought jab, jab, right hook. Every 3 emails need to be focused on giving, and then the 4th one you're allowed to sell. So maybe if you're having a sequence that has, you want to ask 3 different times for somebody to buy, then that means it needs to be a 12-part email series, if that makes sense. There's a little map for you, but let's just go through these 4 things that you need to have a sales funnel in your business. So this is to get you started, and the first thing is I want you to think about how you're driving people to your website. What tools are you using to get people there? Now, a lot of people love Linktree, and it is a good thing, but I would encourage you to narrow that down to maybe 2 or 3 options for people to look at and have each of those drive ultimately to your website. It can drive to your website by way of a freebie. That's what mine do if you want to hop on and look at my Instagram link. But they give freebies that then, you guessed it, pop into a funnel, which then guide people back to my website. So no matter what, your end goal should always be to get people on your website with traffic. Now, the other thing that you need is some kind of content marketing tool. Every funnel or sequence needs this core piece. Now, that can be a freebie worksheet, it can be a workshop, it can be a 5-day challenge, it can be anything that you want it to be that gives really killer value that's just what they need. Now, after that, you're going to take your clients on a journey through this sequence of events, okay? These are when you typically will send those follow-up emails where they can click through, learn more about you, but also tell you more about them, because you're going to be able to see who clicks on what and who is at the place in their business or in their wedding planning or in whatever they're doing to tell you certain things about them. Now, we just talked through those 5 steps of the client journey. This is your chance to speed that up, right? This is where you're going to be able to take someone from not really knowing that they have a problem to realizing they're bleeding out in a sense in some area, or from just hearing about you to falling madly in love with you. This all happens in your follow-up sequence. Now, at the end of all of this, the last part of your funnel is that end goal. And this is what you decide in advance, because I'm going to talk to you in a minute about you need to reverse engineer anytime you write an email marketing campaign. Anytime you even sit down to write your weekly newsletter, you need to already start with the end in mind and think about what is the goal of this email. So whether you want to have them click through to your calendar to set up that call on your Calendly or your Acuity link, or you want them to purchase that $147 mini course that you've created, it's always important to have that goal in mind. Now, the thing is, what is holding this sequence together, this sinuous thread, is copy. We talked about this at the beginning, but I want to train you to be a better copywriter for your business. So before we think through copy, I want you to go through these 2 things as you start dreaming up the possible funnels and sequences that would automate your sales process, because it could be a welcome sequence, it could be a little nurture sequence, or a 5-day challenge, or a 5-day way to help a bride plan whatever she has coming up in her life that you help serve her with. Before you think through all of those, first think through these 2 lenses. What would best serve your tribe? Do you need to, like I was saying, write that welcome sequence so you know maybe who is a bride and who is a photographer, because your list and your audience is split and you need to know who they are. Or maybe you need to get them to tell you a little more about where they are in business. This is what my welcome sequence helps me do, is determine where people are in their business. And it's so funny because I always write with a business acumen in mind, and I have so many people, not so many, I mean, I think it's like, well, I wish I could tell you the percentage, but I'm not quite sure the percentage of people on my list who tell me they don't have a business, they just want to. And I'm like, okay, and, I don't really have a lot for you, but I'll keep going. And they are loyal and they stay on the list. So it's funny that sometimes you'll see different things, but these are all what I'm able to learn through my email list and through the links that I put in my sequences. So the next thing that I want you to think about is, like we talked about earlier, I'm going to keep hitting on those 5 stages. Think about where they are in these. Now, here's an example. When I write my funnels for Laura Hooper Calligraphy in her business, we need to know where students are in the calligraphy process. Have they never picked up a pen before and they just think it looks so much fun and they want to try it? Or have they been practicing for years and know all about it? Or maybe they are so advanced that they have their own calligraphy business and are really just following along with Laura to make sure that they know everything, and they're also getting a good business sense from her as well. So we're going to dive into some email copywriting tips, but I want to pop over into the chat box and just talk to you a little bit and see what ideas we can talk through about funnels. So go ahead and pop in. Do you have some ideas about funnels and sequences that you can set up? I think everybody should at least think about having a welcome sequence in their business, so we can start there if nothing else. But I want to hear some other ideas that you have. Oh, that's really kind. Thank y'all. I'm glad that some of y'all liked the funnel. It made some of you buy, so that's good. Amber, we will talk about some physical services. Let's talk through that. Maybe Amber and Erica, if you could type in exactly what it is that you would want to lead to in your business, like which service you have, that would be really helpful. Meredith said, too much of a hard sell, blunt, full of BS is what happens to some funnels. So true. Meredith, I also like your idea of myriad list for former brides. I think that would be super, super helpful to have. Amber, please do have your 5 days to better skin challenge. I'm somebody who's like always 1 inch away from the mirror looking at my skin, so I feel like that would be great. Wedding hair and makeup in your studio or on site. Erica, you would probably have to look to having more of a list that was local. I know that you've probably done some SEO training on localizing your business and getting people to, we talked about traffic driving to your site. You're going to want local traffic if your funnel is going to be more geared towards in-person physical products. So I'll find his name in a minute and pop it in here. There's a guy who works specifically with search engine optimization for creative entrepreneurs. He was in Rising Tides magazine last week. I'm blanking on his name, but I'll look it up. And he teaches really well, a lot of free coaching on how to start localizing traffic to your website, if that makes sense. But Erica and Amber, I would start with that. I think that's something that you need to keep in mind. But virtual makeup lessons, yes, that's a great idea. Ben Turner, thank you, Meredith. Yes, Ben Turner's, he has a YouTube channel too, if you want to hit subscribe to that. That's going to be something that's really helpful for those of you who want to have a funnel that's more focused on a local product. Those of you who have more evergreen products and digital products, you're going to have a little bit, I'll be honest, a little bit of an easier time. But I feel like local stores, local big box stores do a good job with this. Think about, like, I'm on a J.Crew Outlets email list, and I get emails all the time from them, which are great when they point to sales, but they could also give me tips on, they could do a lot more to remind me that they're here, and give me styling tips or ideas that I can make from what I already have in my closet from J. Crew, because my gosh, it's like a whole store. So just little things like that. Maybe look at some other industries. He is the bomb, Meredith. Oh yes, Erica. I think welcome sequences and goodbye sequences are huge. When I implemented the welcome sequence in my business, my drop-off rate for people unsubscribing went way down, and my open rate went way up. It just all of a sudden people started either saying, yes, I really want to be here, or no, I got my freebie and I'm gone, which is what I wanted them to do. I don't want to pay for those people anyway. And that's fine if they just want the freebie, and I'll be here if they ever want anything else. But that definitely helped my numbers. So I would say everybody maybe leave today by considering working on that welcome sequence. Okay, let's keep jumping through all of this content. And some of you have seen this before, and some of you, my students, have totally worked on this. How do you write email funnels in your voice? Because straight up, sequences, funnels, I'm gonna get sick of saying that word by the end of this, those are sales emails. And isn't that scary, right? I know it can be. But here's the thing. Copy will be much easier to write if you've taken some time to figure out your unique brand voice and what sets you apart. Because copywriting is the what you say and the how you say it, right? It's that conglomeration of both the things. And you've gone through all of this analytical, nerdy, sciencey info about the what, right? Now I want to talk to you a little bit more about the how you say it. I'm going to talk to you about that through your voice, and then at the very end when I give you that formula that you're going to be able to use in your business. Okay, but what if you don't know the voice of your copy? Now, my CSC students that are in here, you should know your voice at this point, but if you don't know your voice, a tone of voice basically takes a statement in your copy and it either breathes life into it or it sucks the life right back out of it, right? So I chose this picture of some calligraphy I did for a wedding because it's like getting stuck with that person in the back corner of a wedding. If they have a great voice and personality, it is kind of fun because they're the ones like making the funny comments about everything just being super entertaining, or it's a total snooze fest and you're trying to catch somebody's eye to get out of that situation, right? So good tone either brings your brand out of its shell and it helps your website readers connect with your brand and what you offer, or it doesn't. Now, as a reminder, our brains are attracted to a few things. They're attracted to story and things that stand out, things that are unique and have that sticky factor. So if we can figure out your voice and how it's different from maybe the other things that are popping up into their inbox, we're upping people's chances of listening, and we're upping people's chances of getting excited every single week. I never dreamed that people would tell me that they were looking forward to my email on Fridays, but lo and behold, a few people told me that, and I was like, you know, I don't understand why. Just giving you some copy tips. But they said, no, I just like it sounded like I was hearing from you. So have that be your goal. And I know I need to dive even deeper into that because that is something that's so important these days. Is marketing is just this entirely saturated market. But see if you can figure out what your voice is and how to stand out a little bit. Now, I'm going to give this example again because it was such a great one. When I first started writing copy for this young lady, whom a lot of people in our industry know, like, and trust, Jenna Kutcher, I said, okay, I'm going to need help. If I'm writing this copy and these email sequences, I need to sound like you, Jenna. So do you have anything that I can use to make sure I sound like you? And she said, I have this Jenna-isms document. I said, whatever that is, hand it over. She had recently hired on a virtual assistant in her business, and this is just this piece of, it was a Google Doc that she put together with things that she'd commonly said. And they were for her virtual assistant to be able to dive into her inbox and respond to different emails and still sound like Jenna. But little did she know that was going to be a huge tool in helping me sound like her in her emails as well. So I want to ask you, do you have an isms document, or can you make one in your business? A lot of us have mood boards where we keep our hex codes and just the different imagery elements that align with our business branding, but what about a mood board for your words? Do you have any kind of document that in a nutshell talks about what you sound like, that of course you can hand off to somebody when they're helping you in your business, which usually will happen sooner than you think it does. But I also think this is going to be important for you to align your words with and update and tweak along the way. So if you need help finding your voice, I have a freebie. A lot of you have grabbed it, but just in case, go to ashlynwrites.com/findmyvoice and grab that freebie and download it now if you need help when it comes to the whole finding your voice thing. So basically, I'm saying all of this to say, when you're writing a funnel in your voice, the key is just to know your voice, okay? And now that you know that, we're gonna layer in a few things. We're gonna layer in storytelling. We're also gonna layer in a little something called segmentation. Now, I know that that's a tricky word, but it is a key part to writing emails for your newsletter, for any funnel, for any nurture sequence, or anything you send out. My goal is for you to never hit send to all on any email in your business, okay? You should never, ever do that. So go ahead and get that idea out of your mind. And if you've done it before, everybody's done it before. If you had an email list before now, so don't feel alone. I used to do it too. But the more you learn about segmentation, the more I'm going to tell you that each part of your list that's raised their hands, being interested in different things, needs to get what they told you they're interested in. So let's talk about that. Why is that important? Well, because the rule of one. Any copy in your business needs to be written to one reader with one idea and one offer in mind. So yes, that means that every single email that you send out needs to have one ultimate goal in mind. Now, this is like a tough love moment because I get a lot of great emails in my inbox from creatives that have, a roundup of everything that's gone on that week in their business. And that's a good approach. I mean, they're fun to read. But if we're actually talking about driving conversions and conversion copy, it's going to work a lot better if you have one goal for every email. Have you noticed that like big high-level entrepreneurs will send out an email that has just one link in it? It'll be like, come read my latest blog post, or there's a new podcast episode up, or something like that. That's because they figured out that if you can just drive in and hone in on one thing, you're going to have a higher chance of people hitting that one button. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with giving a roundup style newsletter, but just be careful. If you're going to include buttons, you're always going to see me include one button that has one link, and it's the most important thing I want people to click on. So that's going to be really important in any email that you write. The other thing I want you to do is become a student of segmentation. So let me ask you this, because it's happened to me before and it ticks me off. One time I got an email that was telling me, cart closing, hurry, get in now, hop in right now, for a course that I had already bought. And I bought it like the first day, and they were still in the sequence, and I was still getting all of these emails. And I didn't say anything, but I was like, don't you know, like I've already given you my $400, like can you take me off all, I've gotten like 14 emails now since. So maybe that's happened to you. Or maybe you've gotten an email before that says, welcome to the list at some point in it, and you're like, oh, I've been here for 6 months, but thank you. So these happen, and it's okay. They happen from time to time, but essentially it's because somebody needs to go through it and become more of a student of segmentation. So my tool of choice, and I know a lot of you on here have heard me talk about it or use it yourself in your business, that makes this the easiest for the list that I have, which is not quite at 10,000. So I think once you're over 10,000, I would encourage you to move on to maybe Infusionsoft. But if you're between 100 and 10,000, I think that ConvertKit is the best kit, is the best option for you. Now there's a link below this video if you want to go ahead and hop into a free month trial. And I will say I'm definitely an affiliate for them. I wouldn't encourage you to use anything though in your business that I haven't already tried out. And I tried out a lot of things and didn't like them as much as I liked ConvertKit. But what I like about ConvertKit is the opportunity to segment my lists into different parts. And I pulled this list together for you today if you want to screenshot it, if that helps. But you can segment for anything. I think I have over 45 tags in my system at any given time, and I'm always adding to and deleting things from that based on what's going on and what I have coming down the pipeline in 6 months or 9 months from now. So you can go ahead and start, if you know in 6 months you're going to launch a new course, or in a year you know that you want to make a course and launch it, then go ahead and start putting some things in your list and offerings and just seeing what gauge the interest in it. There's a lot of times I've tried something and I sent it out and I can see who clicked through and no one self-segmented into that option, and I'm like, well, not making that. Nobody was interested in it. So it can be really helpful. These are some basic ideas to get you going. Maybe the person that registers and clicks on everything, maybe you can just send them a thank you email. Like I do have some people on my list who I think have clicked every single thing I've ever given them and signed up for everything and bought from me before, and like they deserve a VIP thank you email from me and maybe just a phone call. So you can figure out these kind of things by segmenting your list. So I'm going to wrap up today pretty shortly. We've got about 20 minutes left and I want to reserve about 10 minutes of that for some Q&A time, but I want to first leave you with the 3 steps to a funnel, and then drum roll, the email formula that I want you to be able to use as a template in your business today. So the 3 steps to writing any kind of sequence or funnel in your business, that first thing that I want you to do is decide the goals. Do you want to know who's on your list? Do you want to drive to your calendar to link? Do you want them to book a free consult with you so they can learn more about your photography services? Decide those goals first, and the next thing I want you to do is reverse engineer and plot that sequence backwards, okay? I told you that 1-to-3 ratio earlier, that jab, 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 right hook. So maybe for every 3 emails that you send that are just pure educational and value add, you add in 1 that includes a link to some kind of sales thing that you have. Maybe it's a opportunity to purchase a mentorship session from you or a coaching call, or even a reminder about your Etsy course that's available for them. But again, only do that every 4 emails, I would say. Now, the next thing and the last step of this that I want you to do is write in your copy. I would encourage you to do it in like a Google Doc or something pulled apart and separate from your email marketing tool. And then I want you to load it in something like ConvertKit, Drip, which is a good one. They work with lead pages, or there's Infusionsoft, which again, I'm going to recommend if you're over 10K. What does that look like? Well, I pulled a screenshot. Now this is ConvertKit because I like them, but this is just an easy way that they let you go through and add a sequence into your email marketing system. So somebody can get a freebie, and then they follow up with this sequence, which you schedule out to be sent however many days after. And you're going to see introduce them, educate, educate, soft sell, educate, hard sell, educate, soft sell. And I love that. It's already pre-set up inside ConvertKit. And it's one of the first things that helped me. But if you also were interested in ever having, I know Kelsey's on here, I don't know if she's still on here, but she has a great, so you want to create your first digital product mini course. And it's set up probably through something like this, where each day you can have a different piece of the puzzle sent out. A few of you mentioned a few ideas that you had for a challenge or an offering. And so this would be how you send those out to your people. Okay. This last part, how do you structure this whole thing, right? Okay, here is the email marketing formula that I want you to be able to use in your business. It's a great template that I have found that was taught to me, and I've absolutely loved it. And it's called, so eloquently, PACE-OFF. Okay, but what does PACE-OFF mean? PACE-OFF means problem, agitate, solution, opportunity, and new problem. So what we're gonna do is every time you sit down to write a newsletter to your list, like we spoke about, it needs to be sent to one part of your list. So, for example, my Friday newsletter has 3 different versions, because I'm not going to send to people that have told me that they are, a level 3 in their business. That's what it looks like inside my. They haven't said they're a level 3, but they told me that they're launching these big products and they're outsourcing, and these are my Caitlin James, people on the list. But then I've got the people in the middle who are just getting after it, but aren't quite ready to totally outsource all of their copywriting. I've got people who don't even have a business yet and want to have a creative business. So I'm going to send different lists to each different emails to each segment, but I'm going to use this formula for every single person, okay? So that first one, you just kick it right off the bat with a problem. You want to let them know that you hear them, you know what their problem is, and you are listening, but then you're going to agitate it a little bit. You're going to poke the bear and just see if you can tweak a little bit what's going on in their life. Maybe there's a problem that you can describe with a little more color and just remind them how bad it is. But the next part is you want to bring them a solution. This is my favorite part of the newsletter. This is where you get to teach them something. Maybe you just give them a little quick 1, 2, 3 to their problem, or you tell them what you would do. You tell them how you do this in your business. You tell them, what most of your brides do to accomplish this. You give them some sort of nugget that makes it worth them opening it and reading it. My goal is once people get to the P8, the S part of the email, if they closed it, they still walk away with something today. I really want them to click through, of course, but I want it to be so good that just if they were to stop at the solution, they get enough value. Now, the thing is, that solution gives them opportunity to grow into a new stage in whatever they're doing. Maybe it's their planning or their own business or whatever it is, that leads to another problem. The easiest way to think about this, because I know that's like kind of a hairy way to describe it, mo money, mo problems, right? So they get to the solution, they're doing even better in life, which brings up a new problem. And they take that new problem then and pop into whatever it is that you have for them. Now, I'm a show and tell person. I just need to see these. So I pulled an email, actually one that I sent last Friday to my whole email list. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I have a little intro, bring up a problem. You don't have to have an intro that big, to be honest. Sometimes I think I get a little wordy, but you want to bring that problem home and then agitate it a little bit. So I was talking about emailing and how everybody gets frustrated with their email marketing system. And then I bring them a solution and I tell them some quick ideas that have helped me in my own business. And then I tell them what that allows them to do now. But boom, there it is, more money, more problems. It brings up a new problem in their life, which can be solved by clicking on the button that I've given them. So I hope that that is a helpful example. I'll go back to that slide one more time so you can see it, PaySop. But that's been a way that's super helpful for me when it comes to writing email newsletters every week. Okay, so what do you think? I'm going to go ahead. Great, we have 15 minutes left for questions and chime in, but I want to hear if you think you're able to set up some kind of sequence or better copy over in your business. We've moved through these things pretty quickly, and hopefully you're starting to see for yourself, thinking, wait a minute, I think I could get some kind of marketing foundation when it comes to email in my business. Now, again, that workbook includes I put a lot of time into it, but it includes some resources that help me get started. Everything from landing pages, if you want people to sign up for a freebie in your business, to stock images that I use. If you're not a photographer like me and struggled a lot with, well, what images do I use in my business? I put those there. If you like the comments or the content that has come at you today, I'm going to be launching a YouTube channel. Podcasts are a lot for me to consume, so I want to start giving you 5-minute videos each and every week that have copywriting tips and hacks that you can use in your business. So I don't want you to miss those. Hit subscribe if you like what you see. If you want to share this, I would be really, really pleased with that. But I'm going to go ahead and stop and pop back into where it is me. Hi. Okay, great. I think we're good now. Brianne, I'm going to go ahead and answer your question. You have a great one. Brianne said that she loves ConvertKit, but hasn't really gotten into segmenting quite yet. So how do I find time to write emails to each segment? I'll just tell you, I'm just going to be honest and tell you what I do. So in my business, you may have heard me say before, I teach it on a few little bits of my blog, I batch my days. So Mondays are marketing Mondays, Tuesdays are client work Tuesdays, Wednesdays are product development Wednesdays, Thursdays are calls and meetings, and Friday are systems and hashtag finance Fridays. So I have a hashtag marketing Mondays and hashtag finance Fridays in my business. And so what happens is on Monday, that's the day that I'm spending time writing my blog posts for the week. It will be when I'm recording my new YouTube stuff. Everything like that goes on Mondays. That's also the days that I write my email. Now, when I tell you that I write 3 different versions, it stays pretty much the same. I pretty much just have one goal to each email. But the things I'm changing are the examples in it. So at least just to tell you again, just my list, I'm not going to say things like launching or what else. Right? Like the people that are at one level on their list are, I know there's a lot of different people on there, but those are my, like, just a few names that you may know of who are on that level of the list. It's like the Jenna Kutchers, the Caitlin James, the people who are at a place in their business where they've been doing this for a long time. And they've got a huge list, and what they need for copywriting wisdom and insight is at a different point than somebody who hasn't started a business yet. I hope that makes sense. So while the email body is going to be the same, I'm going to change up the examples that go into that PaySop formula that I send out to my list. So when I say I write 3 versions, it's one email that I tweak for each version. Now, if your list is truly split, maybe you have, to be honest, I don't send out emails just to brides right now. I want to one day, but that's just that. You got to focus on one thing at a time. If I were to send out an email to brides and to creatives, they would be 2 totally different emails, right? Because I don't think they're going to be interested in the same thing. So, Brian, that's how I do it in my business. I hope that helps. I'm glad that, okay, structuring your days might be something that works for you. That's something I learned in Todd Herman's 90-Day Year program. Not something I thought of on my own. I definitely would not have, but that was really helpful. So that's how I get that done. Kels, I'm going to answer yours. Can you give another example of what the opportunity would be? And is it correct that the new problem is the call to action to your paid thing? Great question. So let's talk about that PASOP formula. The opportunity is just any chance they have to take that and run with it. So it's like they're hitting a runway and you give them the solution and you coach them through something. Maybe you tell them how other people have solved this problem or whatever it is, and they're going to start gaining momentum and they're going to start going the right way. Now, hopefully, like you said, your product, but it doesn't have to just be a paid product or offering. It certainly can be, but this can also be a link to your free content. This can also be a link to, hey, hit reply and let me know what you think. This can be, do you follow me on Instagram? Come join me here. Anything, this is, again, why you always want to reverse engineer an email that you write. You want to think about, like when I wrote that email last Friday, I was like, okay, my goal is I'm starting this YouTube channel. I want to get some subscribers, so I'm going to host something on there. Okay, back it up. What can I teach? Okay, back it up a little bit more. Why would that be a problem for them? Back it up a little more. What can I teach them to get them to have that as a problem? You see what I'm saying? So you work the whole thing backwards. So that opportunity is just anything that gives them, like they need to have gotten some traction and be off on their way learning something. So for you, Kelsey, and everything that you teach and do, maybe you are before, if you want to nurture them to, like maybe your Etsy course, you want to nurture them with something that they need a little bit before that and give them, you want them to get to the position where they need your course, right? So what do they need to get to this position? Piece it back one more time. And how can you teach them that so they get to this position so they're ready to hop to your Etsy course? I hope that helps, Kels. Oh, you can we gotta show those numbers. You can let me know if that doesn't help because I already, I talked about her free product challenge, or her free product description. Design, Kels, help me. Digital product, I'm sorry, I said product a lot today. Her funnel is great on that. But I think, Kels, I want to make sure that at the end of that, you drive to something. And you can even, drive to, this is something we're doing with Laura Hooper. We drive them to one thing. If they don't buy that, we drive them to another. If they don't buy that, we remind them that they can have this coupon and then do it. And then we'll funnel them back onto the regular newsletter list. So you do want to have these, a goal for you one day would be to have some kind of map where you just nurture people all the way through the process, like that game, right? Where they all the way down. That's what you want people to be doing on your email list. And that's how you set up these long-term sequences and evergreen funnels in your system. Let's see, there's a few more questions. There's still a lot of you in here. If you have some questions along the way, go ahead, chime in. Let's see. Brian, I think I got your question. Let's see. Hey, Erica. Okay, Kels asks one more question that helps. It sounds like the solution, opportunity are pretty similar. Yes. Solution, opportunity, maybe put it this way. Opportunity tells them what's available to them now. So your solution has taught them that. So opportunity, you just want to be really frank and just be now that you know this, do you see that you can, reach the stars now? So you want to spell it out for them a little more verbatim. It has to come out of your mouth because you taught them this. Now say now look what you can do, if that makes sense. I think that might explain a little bit more. What other questions do we have? This is good. We've got plenty of time left. Again, that freebie download for this has 3 ready-to-go sequence ideas and funnels. I think each of them have 7 emails in them. And I start at a freebie, a free Facebook Live or free download and go all the way to a potential goal. I think I did it for a stationer and a photographer and maybe a blogger. I think that's what I did. So you can use those to get your wheels turning on what could be an opportunity for you to build a sequence or funnel in your business. Yes, Erica, download that freebie and see, because the photographer should be. So again, for physical services, if you only sell that by being in person with them, then first of all, you need to focus on getting them to meet you. So maybe it is, I don't know if you do consult calls. I always talk about consult calls because so many creatives feel they can sell anything if they can just get on the phone with that person, or if they can just go to coffee with her, she'll book, right? I know a lot of you think that, or at least that's what I hear. I feel like I'm more comfortable writing, but Some people are not afraid of like telling about whatever they do in person. So maybe your goal is to have them book that with you, or to have them email, hit reply and we'll get a date that works for both of us. Like these don't have to be these big funnels that go to hundreds of people. This can be a funnel that is a slow burning fire in your business and just is constantly generating. So like you may have somebody on your website who is local to your area or lives in your state and would be a great opportunity to work with you, but you've got to figure out what do they need to know to be able to work with you. Tabby, the link is, I can pop it in here. Oh yeah, let's see. It should be in the description right below the video, but I'm also going to type it out, and it's a very long .com/email marketing masterclass. That was it. Okay, I hope that helps. Oh yeah, okay, Erica, if you do a trial, that's your goal. You want her to book a trial. So what can you teach her? What makeup tips and tricks? What hair tips and tricks? This could be great. Like I feel like there's so many people out there who, what products do you use? Like I always want to know, like, what are the celebrities using that work? And of course I know, well, they're getting facials and all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, but I just want a piece of it. Like I just want to know, like, why do her eyebrows look so good? So maybe you can teach little bitty tricks along the way that nurture her through a process to think like, you really are an expert, Erica. You really know what you're doing. You're going to want to drop in some portfolio opportunities for her to look at and see kind of the style of your work along the way. And then after email 7, you're going to say, book your trial. Like, it's time. Let's work together. Let's see if this works. If not, no harm, no foul, but I would love for you to at least try it out. And at that point, hopefully you've sold her. I will say this too, the reason that email sequences or welcome sequences and funnels work well is because someone is most engaged to your list when they first sign up. So that's why you can do a pretty quick sequence when somebody first signs up for your email list, or when they opt in for a webinar or whatever it is, because you're top of mind, they're excited to be there, they want whatever you're giving them. So go ahead and use that to your advantage. Schedule things pretty quickly together. You can peter those out towards the end. You do need to, I think, email your list regularly if you can, whether it's weekly, which I love, but monthly is fine as well. But at first, you don't have to wait a week to send them an email. You can send them one first day, the second day, maybe wait a bit the next day, wait 2 more days the next day. There's some copywriter tricks of the trade that show the Fibonacci sequence, which is a very mathematically nerdy way to think about words, but the Fibonacci sequence of waiting is a good way to space out your emails. So you do want to go ahead, that sequence would advise you as well to do the first day they sign up, the next day, then I would wait 1 day, send another one, and so you want to nurture people pretty quickly. I think I've explained that a lot. I don't want to explain it too much. Ashton, let's get to your question. Ashton asks about what would a welcome sequence for her look like? I don't mention it in the freebie. I'm working on a shop template that's going to help with welcome sequences. But when we do talk about freebies and offers, you're like, what do you do? Okay, so when you're talking about a freebie for your email list, Ashton, you know your bride. Ashton is a photographer, beautiful, like editorial style photographer for brides. So what would help your brides? I look a lot of times at what the questions are that I've been getting. Ashton, since you're one of my students and you did all of that survey and data mining before, look again and see what questions you get asked a lot and what kind of freebies can you make that serve them. I think you should have usually 3 freebies in your business. You need to have your signature freebie, then you need to have a content upgrade for any, it could be once a week or once a month. Just a little extra bonus piece of love to give your list. Like you want these people to get on your list and you still want to be able to serve them. So those are the first 2. And then if you ever launch something, you're going to have freebies for that as well. But really, you just need those first 2. So I want you to try to figure out some kind of signature freebie that you can make. So Ashton, go back and think about those 3 brides that you worked with that were so great. What could you have made to help them along the way? An example of this when I was trying to figure out, and I think I teach it, pardon some of my students who have heard this before, when I was trying to figure out what kind of calligraphy tool to make, the questions I kept getting were all about their etiquette. What do I say in my wedding stationery that's correct and appropriate? How do I make sure that I'm not addressing this wrong? What do I say when it's a doctor and doctor? Does her name go first? All these questions they have. And I was like, well, you know what? I can help you with that. So I made this like 20-something page etiquette guide. And it was a big beast, and it took me a good week of work. But that thing got so many signups to my email list. My launch copy guide, that checklist that some of you may have, is another one of the signature freebies in my business. And that has just done so well because I put a lot of time into it. I wanted to make something that people could hardly believe was free. So that's the kind of thing that you want to make for your lead magnet or your signature freebie in your business. And then, Ashton, once you have that in place and you know that it serves your tribe and you know it's good, then you can start to promote it on social media, once a week on Instagram, promoting it on your website, at a banner on the top, at a pop-up on your website, which ConvertKit helps you do. And to anybody who doesn't like pop-ups, I'll just tell you they work like crazy. So there's a lot of different things you can do to promote that along the way. Jenna, my client, has a great email marketing course. I'm not sure if it's open right now, but it is really good. So that can help you figure out a little bit more of this. She doesn't teach ConvertKit in it, and I think I've mentioned it to her because I think ConvertKit is, again, I just think if you've got over 10K, the price of Infusionsoft is just too much to justify for those of us who have smaller lists. But a MailChimp is a little tougher to use in a technical sense when it comes to like actually being able to serve different parts of your group with what they need. And so that's why I think ConvertKit is the best tip. So once you get into ConvertKit, then you can add that freebie in and set up a little sequence and then just send out those weekly emails just to remind them, I'm here. And then they can opt off whenever. Now, Meredith is a great example of what do you do when you have an audience that you've already served that is at a different place in their business. Meredith's business, she's a wedding photographer, but she and her husband, y'all, any thoughts on Infusionsoft Drift? Yes, that's great. Meredith, she and her husband, and Meredith pop in if I get any of this wrong, y'all are able to almost be mentors for some of your brides that are in your community that have been there for a long time. So they have found a way to serve these people who may have just been in a season when they needed them in their business. Another business that does this really well, just sometimes good to learn from what we see, Southern Weddings, right? They created at first this magazine, then people got through the marriage process, and they were just these sitting ducks who loved the brand but needed some more opportunities. So that's why you saw Southern Weddings do all these great blogs on newlywed ideas, dating ideas, newlywed home tours, what can I cook, all these different ideas that helped along the way for those people in that season. So maybe there's something that you can do to serve them at a later point so you don't have this whole list that is all kind of ready to work with you and then not ready. For those of you who work in the wedding industry, those may be helpful. Kate asks, does MailChimp have any funnel capabilities? I heard, so it hurt my heart to switch to ConvertKit because MailChimp is an Atlanta-based company. And so is Calendly, and I switch whenever I can. Clearly, I drink Delta water for Kool-Aid. Whenever I can support a hometown team, I love to. That said, I didn't find Calendly to be as great as Acuity, and I did not find MailChimp to be as great as ConvertKit for me. I have heard through the grapevine, and somebody that uses it now, if you want to chime in, if you know a lot more about this than I've heard that MailChimp was aware that they needed to add some capabilities. I didn't see them anytime soon, so I think that that's one reason why I left. And I thought to myself, okay, it's going to be $30 a month, so I've got to raise my prices $30 in some capacity to be able to afford this. But like I said, made it back very quickly. So that's why I switched, and that was my thoughts on it, Kate. Also, ConvertKit made a simplified template that was less likely to pop up in Gmail's promotions tab. That's something sometimes you have to be afraid of with something like MailChimp. They can be so flashy and template-y and design-oriented that they are too bulky to pop up into an inbox. And ConvertKit is like super, in fact, my emails have too many pictures for ConvertKit to love. Sometimes I have to watch that. So that's something that I was interested in to move. I'm going to say one last thing about ConvertKit. There's a Being Boss episode where they interview the guy that talks about ConvertKit, and they talk about why they switched, and it's the interview that made me want to switch. So look that up. Sometimes I just Google to re-listen to it. It's really good. Being Boss space ConvertKit, and it's a really good podcast. Okay. Got those questions. Kels, let's talk about Infusionsoft versus Drip. You know, Kels, you may notice, people call it Infusionsoft Confusionsoft. That said, Drip is the new kid on the block, but Drip works really well with lead pages. All of my clients that use, because I set up a lot of funnels in Infusionsoft, I like it. I think it requires learning. So I think if you have the time to put into learning it, that would be good. Infusionsoft also has a lot of people standing by ready to run it for you, which is a good thing. Obviously, it's an extra expense, but I do think Drip is probably a little more user-friendly and easy to understand. And Infusionsoft, the bulk to get it up and running can be pretty heavy. I would imagine Drip is too, just because you're uploading a huge list into there. But I haven't worked in Drip, so I can't really speak to if I think it's easier. Infusionsoft, I also like, allows you to map out a funnel. So you can like draw little boxes, like this freebie goes to, here's a line, this. If they don't click this, they go here. If they click this, they go here. All of this kind of stuff, which is really helpful. I do that in Google, what's the word? Draw. I almost said Docs and then I almost said Drive. Google Draw is another way that you can map out your funnels and like see them visually in your business. But Infusionsoft lets you do that in the software and set up things, which is pretty good too. Those are my thoughts on it. Again, haven't worked with Drip. Ashton. Okay, good. Save those questions for later, Ashton. You know where to find me. You're also in our Covering for Creatives Facebook group. And I feel like as people get through this round of the course, we're probably going to start talking about email marketing more because I think everybody's like ready to get going on email marketing. So maybe we can talk about things more over there. Meredith said, that's what I thought. So you have a segment for inquiry brides, current brides, married and past brides, and new mamas. Great example of segments and sequences in a business. That's 4 very different tribes. So do you see how she can send out sort of the same email to at least 2, maybe 3 of those groups each week, but just tweak certain words that she uses in them, or anecdotes or analogies that she uses, because a new bride's anecdote that hits on her heart is not going to be the same for this new mom. So that's how you want to do that. Meredith, great example. Thanks for that. Tavia, maybe, I wonder if that link below, let's see, works. Tavia, if you can't get that, email me at hello@ashlandwrites or support@ashlandwrites.com and we'll get you that. I do want to make sure. Marketing, masterclass. Oh, by the way, we're past time, guys, so if you got to hop off, I totally understand. I think I'm going to hop on a coaching call in just a minute, but I want to make sure that all the questions get answered first. So Tavia, just shoot me an email and I'll get you that list. I want to make sure that works. I'll probably update the link at the bottom of this video after the call too. Oh, Drip does visual funnel maps. Then maybe Drip's the way. I would do the free trials of both of them and see what, because I don't know what the cost is. I imagine Drip's less, but that's my thoughts. All right, any more questions? Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I hope you found this helpful today. I know we had a lot of different levels of email marketing expertise in here, so I hope that it was helpful and you got one thing at least that you can take away from it today, whether it is like being ready to go tackle a welcome sequence, starting something the first time in your business for an email list, or even trying to figure out what you're going to say in this week's newsletter. Hopefully that's a little easier now. So I will see y'all soon. Again, if you like this, if you don't mind hitting subscribe, that would be great. And I'm going to be popping in here each and every week with tips, not this long, they'll be 5 minutes, but we'll jam more about copywriting tips to help your business. That's it. I'm going to let you go. I'll talk to you later. Bye.